G'day guys, Gordon here with Guardians of Freedom. Just putting a new series together which is around wishful thinking within the freedom movement. And I just want to cover a couple of topics which I feel are quite important, and where I'm coming from with this is from a good place, with all respect to everyone involved in the freedom movement. From the bottom of my heart, I know everyone involved, awesome people with big hearts, and most of them are running with the best of wishes as well. And so I'm putting this series together because we're so deep now into crunch time, and people are still, I guess, stuck in a dream of this wishful thinking. So the series is going to cover a few topics. The first one I want to talk about today is really this response that I'm seeing everywhere. And the reason I'm doing this video again is because we are so deep in that it's getting very concerning that people are still running with this wishful thinking. And there's an awesome saying, I'm horrible with sayings, by the way, but it goes something along the lines of, if you do the same actions, you'll get the same results. Okay, and the wishful thinking, it just keeps going on and on. It really makes me wonder, because a lot of the people in the movement are sharing posts out there about how bad the situation is. You see all kinds of stuff getting sent around about the New World Order and satanic cults and the Illuminati, etc. And I've got another video which will cover who's behind it, how they operate, what they're doing and why they're doing it, and that is how we formulate our action plan. So just to touch on that, Guardians of Freedom, we've been around for more than around a year now. Same message, same action plan, and we had the extremely clear picture of what's going on from the beginning, and really what we need to be doing to put an end to this. And I'm going to touch on wishful thinking number one for this video. Wishful thinking number one, you could see a few of these posts. I do not consent. And the other one is, I'm sovereign, I'm not part of your corporation. There's a few like that getting around, and this is the reaction or the hope people have in keeping themselves safe. And most people are concerned about the COVID-19 vaccine, and their response is, I do not consent, I am sovereign, or I have rights, this is against my human rights. They all fall under the same umbrella of I do not consent, or I have rights. And even when we look at, I guess, a lot of people within common law are being taught that they should essentially use common law and say something along the lines of, I'm not part of you have no authority over me, type thing. People are being taught to print out certain little papers that they think they can use and say, I am sovereign, I am not part of your system. I'm dumbfounded by it. I'm absolutely dumbfounded that there are actually groups promoting this. It's very dangerous, and really, how do I address this? It's quite simple. That's not how tyranny works. And again, I'm just absolutely dumbfounded when I hear people talking about the tyranny, and then in the same breath they'll say, well, I'm sovereign, or I'm not part of your corporate system, or whatever it might be. I'm under common law, not under your corporate law. They all fall under the same umbrella. And I'm going to give, I guess, the most simple analogy or example. If we look at slaves, and when slaves, and I'll use the last known example, which was in Africa. I know there's been slaves taken from all over the world historically. I'm pretty damn sure that those slaves did not consider themselves part of that system. I'm pretty damn sure those slaves considered themselves to have human rights, not to be taken as slaves. And I'm pretty damn sure those slaves considered themselves sovereign. Now, the slave masters, or whatever you want to call them, they don't care. Okay? That's how tyranny actually works. They don't care. So there's no such thing as saying I have rights, I'm sovereign, etc. Now, when it comes to common law, absolutely love common law. I think it's an awesome law system that can essentially simplify things for common people to be able to participate in the legal system and to have a fair involvement in the legal system without requiring huge amounts of money. So I'm not knocking on common law as a concept, okay, but it's not going to hold up for you by simply using that concept and saying I have rights or I am not part of your system. Power is required behind any concept, and if you don't have the power, you cannot move. It's that simple. Okay, so I'm just absolutely dumbfounded. I've just been running through another post about the new vaccine passports, and somebody posts, I do not consent. Okay, they don't care. Alright, that's what you've got to understand. They do not care, and they have the power. You don't, because you're not willing to do stuff that's required to get the power. This is what we need to be doing, is taking the actions required to maintain power. Okay, and that's what our action plan's about. Find out more, check out our group. And again, I'm not saying that to knock on people, but I really want to send that wake-up call out there. Okay, it's one of those wishful thinking. I do not consent. I am sovereign. I am under common law, not under your law. All of those things. It just doesn't matter. That's not how tyranny works. Okay, I've given the slave example. When another country invades another country, they don't care that country is sovereign. That's what happens. Okay, now we're actually at war already, guys, and people are still running around with this wishful thinking. Okay, and I've seen it already with a couple of people involved in the freedom movement, and they're still pushing it, even though they themselves were forced to get tested. And there's one particular person who's involved, I'm not going to name names, has travelled to Queensland, and she's been pushing this whole I have rights, I do not consent as the solution. Okay, and it's just insane, and common law and all of that stuff. And she's come back to Adelaide, and the police have basically pounced on her for not wearing her mask, and they've decided to go at her to get tested as what is required now. And she has then said, no, do not consent, here's the law, blah blah blah. And they held her until she couldn't leave her home, until she put the crap up her nose and gave them their sample. They got a test done and her DNA. Alright, and that's the reality. Okay, when you are in a situation of tyranny, like everyone says they are, okay, either you believe the first part of your story or you don't. I'm absolutely dumbfounded. Okay, and it's a harsh reality, but you're not going to get anywhere, and you're going to be vaccinated, I can tell you that much, if you're going to run around with that story. And if you don't start mustering up some proper courage to do something about it, you will be vaccinated. Okay, so I'll leave it at that, guys. And like I said, if you're interested in what we're doing, we've got some awesome men and women that have come together, and our family is growing and growing, and we have a really appropriate and effective action plan. So there are things that can be done, and you can find us again on MeWe, on Facebook, and also on our website, which is guardians-of-freedom.com. If you have a comment or a question, please feel free to put it in the comments section. If you like the material we're putting out, please subscribe and come check out our group. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.